Hi, my name is Kay Sutha. I am a business strategist and I will be your host. In this podcast, I'll be getting raw, real, and relentless whilst interviewing successful entrepreneurs from all over the world who specialize in different aspects of business. We'll cover the 5 main pillars of business, which are sales, marketing, finance, operations, and leadership, but not forgetting mindset, live and digital events, plus much, much more. You will gain insights, tips and tricks, and discover jaw-dropping actionable steps that you'll be able to put in place for your business right away. Guys, oh my goodness, I have an awesome guest for us today. Our next speaker, he is the co-founder of Purple Night Marketing and Your Marketing University, an education company designed specifically to help entrepreneurs discover the tools, technology, and systems to go from surviving to thriving in your industry. He has taught thousands of students all over the world as a speaker and trainer for groups such as SCORE, Icon Builder Bootcamp, National Association of Women Business Owners, Arizona Small Business Association, and many, many more. He is also the co-author and Amazon bestseller of Marketing Tidbits, 50 Quick and Easy Ways to Grow Your Business. Author of Networking Tidbits, 25 Ways to Connect, Grow, and Succeed Through Networking. His passion for connecting people caused him to create his best-selling training course called Networking Like a Rock Star, which today has over 1,350 students globally registered to learn how to make the most of the connections they make with the people they meet. He is here today to share with us how to spend more time doing what you love and helping your clients succeed, all while building stronger relationships with your prospects, clients, and vendors. Please welcome Ely Delaney, automated systems strategist and the people whisperer. Oh my goodness, Ely, welcome to Uncensored Society podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It is my pleasure to come hang out with you today.
Awesome. And you know what? I don't even know how we're going to fit all this in 30 minutes because we've had conversation over conversations, and all that comes out of your mouth is more value and value and value and golden nuggets. And oh my goodness. So we're going to see how far we get with this. But I know there's so much here you need to teach people, right? And so much our audience needs to hear. But before we get into all of that nitty gritty, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you did before you even stepped into building your own business.
Depends on how far back you want to go. My previous life is I was actually in the rock and roll industry and did lighting. I started off as an audio person. Funny thing was I actually started off as a musician. I was a trained vocalist. I was trained in classical music. I did competitions, all that kind of fun stuff. And I had this silly thing called stage fright. So I ended up actually getting away from being on the stage to behind the scenes. Lo and behold, now I'm a speaker. I have no clue how the hell that happened. I don't understand it, but it worked itself out. And so that's what I do now.
Right.
I did that for quite a while. And from that side of my world, I had a lot of fun, but it was the rock and roll world. Let's just say my boss had some recreational habits that affected my paycheck. And I knew I had to get out. I'm sure you can fill in the blanks on that one.
Right.
So from there, got out of that industry, started working for a small computer shop in Phoenix, Arizona at the time. And we were an internet provider. It was back in the day when 56K was just coming out. So this high speed stuff that we have now didn't even exist. I mean, if you wanted high speed, you had what was called a T1, and it was going to cost you like $1,500 a month at a bare minimum to get that. I learned the ins and outs of the servers. I learned the ins and outs of how, first how to build computers and then the servers and the internet side of things. And then people were coming to us and saying, can you host a website for us for my business? And we're like,
right.
Oh yeah, we could do that. And we figured it out. They're like, cool. Can you build one for us? And we're like, somebody's got to do that. And I took it on myself to learn HTML. In that process, I also figured out you have to have graphics. So I picked up a copy of Photoshop. This was Photoshop 3, I believe. So if that tells you how old this is, because I think they're in like, I think they might be at like version 30 now or something
Oh
like
my
that.
goodness.
So yeah, it was a long time ago. And that's when I fell in love with web design. Started my first company, which was a web and graphic design agency, and had a lot of fun with that for several years until I decided I wanted to kind of take things to another level. But I
Wow.
basically took my web design stuff, grew that business from just myself working out of my dining room to opening up an office. I had 5 employees. We're closing 3 to 5 contracts a week just in the local area. We're totally crushing it, having a good time. And then decided I needed something else. And so I got into the speaking world and teaching, which I love doing even more.
Wow. And the thing is, I mean, you speak and you teach and you do all that good stuff right now, but you come from a huge techie background, right? I mean, there's so much stuff that you've even kind of mentioned to me and taught me and stuff. And it's just the amount of knowledge you have and the amount of experience, it's just unbelievable. And the fact that you've been able to grow with the times and it's evolved, and the tech has got so much more complicated or easier, I'm not sure what word, but and you've been able to keep up with that. A lot of people aren't able to do that. How have you done that?
Well, I mean, I will say that I was a geek, but way before being a geek was cool. So that does help in some degree.
Right.
But a couple of different things go into play with this. First and foremost is I do have a tech background. And that tech background was from me teaching myself. It wasn't from formal education either. When I actually did take a point while I was running my web and graphic design agency, I took a point where I was like, you know what, if I'm going to go to the next level, I should probably have a certification. I should have a degree. So I went to school and I realized that I was already making about 10 times more money than my teachers were.
Oh, wow.
And they'd had 30 years experience and I had like 5. And I'm like, this isn't right. So, and it was because I was consistently learning. I'm consistently looking for that stuff. Now I'm going to put a be careful with that, because that also, with a lot of entrepreneurs, that will make them go down a rabbit hole of always learning and never doing.
Right.
Have to be careful of that. So many people, especially in today's world, and we have so much technology, so many different options of what landing page builder should I use, and which email system should I use, and which webinar platform, and all these different things. And it almost actually is a hindrance, because not only has it made it more complex, like the technology is easier. We have stuff that didn't exist when I started all of this stuff. I mean, I was running an automated webinar, like those automated webinars that literally you go in and it feels like you're actually in a real event, but it's all been pre-recorded. I was doing that before most people even knew those existed.
Wow.
And so the technology now, like now, we don't even run those most of the time anymore, because the simple fact that everybody knows it's an automated webinar and they're not going to do it. It's like, it feels fake. Back then it was cool, right?
Yeah.
It was a brand new thing. But the thing with it is, this stuff is easier, but it becomes overwhelming because we have too many choices.
Right.
And one of the most important things that I always tell people, at the end of the day, it's not about the technology, it's about the psychology. I don't care what software you're using, as long as it does the basic stuff that we need and you understand it. That's all you need. You don't have to sign up for the next shiny object.
So what you're saying, what I'm hearing is, it's not about me, it's about the audience.
Yeah.
It's what they care about. Right?
Definitely.
What that happens naturally to, I guess, business owners, entrepreneurs, that they get into their own heads and feel like they need to have the next best thing, the next best tech that's out there, when it's not always necessary.
No. And most of the time it's not necessary. And the reality of it is the audience, your people, okay, and you can use whatever terminology you want. Some people call it your tribe, some people call it your audience, some people call it your fans, your thousand raving fans. Whoever those people are, as long as they can understand what you're doing. So if they get stuck trying to log into your membership site, you got a problem. But if they can watch a video on Facebook, which most of us can do, they don't care about the rest.
Right.
What they care about is Can they trust you? And do you solve their problem?
Right. Got it.
Those two things are all you need to succeed. Everything else wraps around that. And so the psychology is, how am I solving your problem?
Mm-hmm.
And what can I do to make you understand that you can trust me?
Right. Okay.
Software is irrelevant.
Interesting. That's interesting, because I feel like a lot of people feel like that they need to have certain tech to do this for the audience, for their audience or the raving fans, like you said, to trust them. Right? If they don't have the latest tech, that means they don't look like the pro or the expert.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So you and I had a conversation about professional earlier. And so I think this is really relevant for this situation. As a professional, you definitely want to put on the best professional image you can, but that doesn't mean get overwhelmed with all the gizmos, gadgets, and stuff like that. So like I have lights, I have a green screen behind me, I have extra lights on that. We can go talk all day about the geeky stuff involved with this. At the end of the day, there's a couple of things that go with this. Number one, what you say is what's important. Okay. But how you say it is most important. What you say is important. How you say it is most important. When it comes to the techie side, your audio is the most important thing you can have, because they have to hear you clearly.
Right.
Your camera, not that important. Yes, having a better camera. I've bought stuff that's better than what's built in. I use a MacBook Pro, but I have an external camera that I use. But guess what? My external camera, well, after the surge of the pandemic, when everybody was at home Zooming and they all had to buy cameras, then prices got hiked up. But when I bought the camera, it cost me $50-$60 maybe.
Right.
I know people have like, $2,000 and $3,000 cameras that they use. And does it look better? Yeah, but it's not that important. My $60 camera does exactly what it needs. It has a clear picture. It looks sharp. That's all you need.
Yeah, I mean, I have a MacBook Pro too, and the camera on the MacBook Pro is awful, right? And I had to get myself an external camera. And I think I paid like $50-$60 for it as well. And so it doesn't have to be super, super expensive, even though I did go down the rabbit hole of, oh my God, I got to buy this $1,000 camera to look professional, to get crystal clear, visuals and all of that. It did happen to me. It did happen because everyone around me, a lot of them are speakers and they have it. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to have that too. And in fact, no, you don't need to have that. And people really don't care what kind of camera you have, I guess, as long as they'll be able to see you on the video and they can hear you.
Yeah. And really a couple of good lights will make a difference. So, as a great example, I have, I told you I've got lights. I've got one hanging over here. That's an expensive one. It's hanging up on the ceiling up here. But I have this other one sitting right here. Okay. This one is sitting on my desk. It's attached with a boom arm. A 2-pack costs like $50 off of Amazon.
Wow.
Okay. Go look up the brand Newer. It's Neewer, I think. Their name is kind of a little bit weird, but they make all kinds of lighting and video equipment and boom arms and all that kind of stuff for really cheap. They're on Amazon. Check them out. Go buy some of their stuff. It's like this small investment makes a huge difference, where the big investment is only going to make a little bit bigger in interest. It's not that big of a deal. Right. It's not that big of a gap. And so those kind of things make a difference. But reality is, it goes back to having your basics from the tech standpoint. Have your basics, have a camera that's well lit, audio, video that looks good and sounds, most importantly, sounds great. And we're not talking about expensive stuff either. But again, how do people feel when they see you? Because there is such a thing as being too dressed up.
Yeah.
Now, I'm in a suit. Okay. Yeah. This is me on a professional level. Right. If you see me on a regular day, I'll probably be wearing a t-shirt. But from a professional standpoint, people need to see that I am a professional. And so I do wear a suit. Not everybody does, and that's fine. You do what's comfortable for you. But that's one piece of the puzzle. The biggest piece is, what are you saying? how do you get people to actually realize you actually care about them and aren't there just to get their credit card? Because as entrepreneurs and as marketers, because many of us are actually marketers for our business, that's where we miss the boat. We go at it like a megaphone,
right?
And we're always pitching our stuff to people. We're burning the bridges. Okay, I like to call that being a pitch pirate. The only time, I mean, if you've ever done this, I'm sure you've seen this, where you've followed somebody, maybe you got on their email list, or you see them on Facebook and you're like their page, so you see their posts or whatever, and everything they do is about a promotion. Everything they do is about selling you something. We call that a pitch pirate. The only time you ever hear from them is when they want your booty.
Right.
Okay? That's not what you want to be.
No.
And there's nothing wrong with selling. Okay, I'm a capitalist. I do not hide that in any way, shape, or form. But it does not mean you have to shove it down people's throats.
Right. Yeah.
What you want to do is talk to them, open up a dialogue, and have a conversation. The tech, again, doesn't matter.
Right.
At the end of the day, the conversation is.
Interesting. Now, I mean, my next question was to you was, you have this ability of meeting cool people. We already know that now, right? We know we know that this is what you do. You meet cool people. But I guess my question would be, is every single person you meet cool? Like, or are you just bumping into cool people all the time? What does that mean? Meeting cool people.
Meeting cool people, first and foremost, most people all have a really cool story. Like, why did you get into what you do? How did you fall into this world?
Right.
And if we had more time, I would want you to go into that, because I want to hear that story.
Right.
And so by doing that, by listening to people's stories, why do they do what they do? What gets them excited? You said something earlier, it's like, you obviously have a passion for what you do. And I do. I love this stuff. And I love sharing it even more, because it's even more fun. Because when I can tell somebody, here's something cool, you should try this and see if that works, and their eyes get big, you saw that light bulb pop up above their head, that gets me excited. Okay. So I love that. And so when I can have a conversation with somebody and hear what they're doing, and then, hey, you know what, there's something that might help you out, try this, and having them go, that's cool, yeah, let's do that. And that gets me excited. I like that. And so I get to hear their stories and see, how can I help them? How can I fit them in with the other people that I meet? So I think of meeting cool people like a big game of Tetris. If you've ever played Tetris, it's like, little blocks come down, you got to figure out how they fit together. That's kind of what I do, is I'm looking at people, all the people that I meet, how do I fit them together so everybody wins the game? And you ask the question, is everybody I meet cool? Sadly, no.
Right.
I mean, and those are the people that go exactly what I was just talking about a minute ago, that they are 100% about the sale, not about the relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. The relationship means you do not have to be best friends, but you have to come from a place of giving. You have to come from a place of caring.
Right.
Before anything else is going to happen, before people are going to trust you. And, a great story with this is I had somebody, a big name person. I can guarantee most of the people that are watching this have heard this person's name. I saw them speak at one event. They were by far the best speaker I'd ever seen, like charismatic as hell on stage, just amazing.
Right.
And of course, as a speaker, when you're in a big room like that one, I think there's 1,000 people in the room. They got swamped after the event, or after they got off the stage, which that's not uncommon, right? If you're that good, people are going to come ask questions. We call it the petting zoo. And this person, I saw her at another event about a month later, and she was speaking there. And it was a much smaller event. A friend of mine was actually putting that one on. And so we were there partially to support my friend, but I also was like, okay, you guys need to go, you need to see this person, because she's amazing. She's the best speaker I've ever seen. And I brought a bunch of people to the event for that purpose. Well, before she went up on stage, I went back of the room. She's getting ready, and it's kind of casual, but the other last speaker is still speaking. And I just walked up to her. I was like, hey, I just wanted to tell you, I saw you speak last month at this other event. You were by far the best speaker. I was totally blown away on how amazing your content was. Something to that effect, right?
Right.
Her response, so did you buy the program?
Oh, wow.
Not a thank you. Not even a thank you. And did you buy the program? That was it. That was all it was. She was 100% about the money.
Wow.
I lost all respect for her at that point. Like completely everything. Now, to this day, if somebody asks me about the person, I do not shy away about telling the story. I also say, depending on your situation, now that you've heard that, do I believe that the content that she has is great? Yes. Do I believe it could help you? Yes. Do I respect the person? No.
Right.
So with that, you make the decision that you feel you need to make, because I'm not discounting her ability, her content, stuff like that, but I am discounting her as a person,
right,
because of the way she treated me.
Yes. Yeah.
Your audience is no different. You have to treat them with respect and appreciate them. And technology, it doesn't, technology helps you with that. I'm big into technology and automation. I have my claim to fame is my 3-year campaign. I could literally go outside and get hit by a bus today and still sell you stuff for 3 more years.
Wow.
Okay. That's my joke. That's my running joke of what I can do with the automation side of things.
Got it.
But when I have a conversation with somebody, and everything in that system, by the way, is designed to elicit a conversation, get people to reply so we can have a dialogue and we have a real conversation. That's what's important.
I see. Now, I mean,
rant over.
no, that was amazing. Like you again just spitting out value, word after word. And that was totally cool. But I guess what I'm thinking is, I know you've been doing this for a long time and you've got loads of experience, but what really qualifies you as an expert in this niche?
In the trenches, really. I mean, I have my first business I told you about was a web and graphic design agency. I grew that through networking and through connections. I mean, we were crushing it on that business. Like I said, I went from my dining room by myself to opening up an office. I had 5 employees, and we were literally closing 3 to 5 contracts every single week. And it was all local, by the way. Like, we're building websites for local businesses. We weren't doing the online stuff. I had literally 1 client outside of a 20-mile radius. The rest were all that local. But then when I got into the speaking side, so we started doing classes, teaching people how to edit their own websites to do basic stuff. We started doing classes, and they filled up like crazy. Like every month we had a slam-packed standing room only room. And I was like, this is kind of fun. And so I started in the speaking side. And what ended up happening, what led me to where we are today, what we do now, is I started building these follow-up systems, because I would speak and say we had 100 people in the room. I'd close 10 sales, which is not bad. That's a good number.
Yeah.
But my brain immediately went to, what about the other 90 people?
Right.
What's up with them? Why didn't they buy? What did I do wrong? How can I fix that?
Yeah.
And so I started following up with them. And then we had the technology. It was just still new. Like now everybody has a CRM system, an email system, stuff like that. But back then it was still fairly new. And so I started building these systems to follow up with these people. And I realized that I could get people to come back. Maybe some people come back next week, next month, next year. I actually have somebody September 16th of 2020 reaches out to me and says, hey, Eli, I've been on your list for a couple of years now. I cannot explain how much you've helped me grow my business. My son's starting a construction company. I'm wondering if you could help us with some marketing stuff, which is awesome, right? He's referring his son to me, which is beautiful. Yeah. So it starts a whole dialogue. But then at the same time, I was like, what does quote unquote a couple of years mean? So I look in my CRM system. He had actually seen me speak. I was teaching a class for SCORE, because we talked about that earlier, Service Corps of Retired Executives. I used to be one of their trainers in Phoenix. And he saw me at a class July 3rd, 2010.
Wow.
10 years and 3 months later, he's coming back and referring his son's business to me.
Wow, insane.
This is where the aha comes in. If you can think about that kind of longevity, people buy when they're ready. We have to go with that. We want them to buy today. We want them to buy yesterday because we want to get paid. That's fine. I mean, we're in business, right? But people will buy when they're ready, and whatever the reason is for not buying today doesn't matter. Maybe today's just not not right day. Maybe you got distracted because the dog decided to want to come play. Maybe they were one of these people that went to an event and they purposely leave their credit card at home because they have no willpower. It doesn't really matter. Maybe they are that one person who really actually truly doesn't have the money today. But if you treat them right and you stay in touch with them for the long game, when they're ready, they will come back to you.
Amazing. Now, Ely, you talk a lot about, psychology of your audience or your fans and giving them what they want. Did you go to school and study psychology or communications? How did you get good at connecting and networking with people?
So, no, I didn't go to school for this, although I became a student of it later on. And first and foremost, my first delve into this was I knew that if I was going to make money, I needed to be able to talk to people. I needed to be comfortable having real conversations. And so I took it in there when I first joined, when I first started my first business. I went to a local chamber of commerce and I had probably some of the best words that I ever heard from a gentleman by the name of Ray Golding. He was the marketing director there. And he's like, here's the deal. You can join every networking group in the Valley. There's a bunch of chambers. Every city has one. And you'll have to take out a second mortgage in your house to do so because it's going to cost you.
Right.
Doesn't matter if you have one or all of them. You are going to get what you put into it. You're going to get out of it. Right. If you want to be successful, you have to participate. You have to have conversations. Right. And I took that to heart. And so we had the running joke while I was in that chamber. When Ely first started, he would go to the opening of a letter. And I was like, if there was a ribbon cutting, I was there. If there was a new member open house, I was there. It didn't matter what it was. I was always there. I was always reaching out to them. I was always thanking them for joining the chamber and saying, hey, I'd love to get to know you a little bit. Let's go have coffee. I mean, there were times where I would have one coffee shop that I would go to, and they loved me because I brought tons of people to them. I would start the day at 8:00 in the morning and end at like 6:00 at night, literally back-to-back coffee meetings. I had more coffee than you could possibly imagine. I could have flown to the moon by then. But it was about the relationship, and that's how it started. And I did that very well. Fast forward, I started learning how to write copy, how to write better and communicate in the written word better. And the cool thing is, it's the same thing. The first thing that I was taught, I don't even remember originally where I heard this from, but it was like, if you're writing an email, you want that email to sound and feel like you're sitting down across from somebody having a cup of coffee.
Right.
Well, I was already pretty good at that part. So it made it really easy to start writing that way. And then over time, I started getting more into it. And then I studied a lot of other stuff, both copywriting, which is, I think every entrepreneur needs to learn some basic copywriting. Great book that I highly, highly recommend. The Copywriter's Handbook by Bob Bly. It's a great book to teach you the basic psychology. Okay. You don't have to become quote unquote a copywriter, but if you can learn the basics, you can learn how to communicate just writing emails. That's it. You don't have to make it complicated. When you're writing a post on Facebook, how does that feel? Does that feel and sound like it's a veiled pitch, or does it feel like you're just sharing a story?
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. Now, for a lot of our audience out there, probably thinking, oh my God, getting out there, speaking to a bunch of people is so scary, or they're doing a little bit of it and they want to improve and get better and they want to meet more and more cool people, right? So is there a principle that you can teach our audience today that they can apply immediately?
Yeah, there's a couple of different things. First and foremost, right now we're not doing as many live in-person events.
Right.
So I'll give you a quick one for that because I'm hoping, things are starting to open up. I'm very excited. Later this month, as of this recording, I've got an event in Philadelphia I'm speaking at, and another one next month in Dallas. So we're starting to have real life events again, which is very exciting.
It is.
But yeah, walk into a room and find one person that looks scared, because there will be one person that looks scared because they're more scared than you are about talking to people. Right. Go up and just introduce yourself to that one person. Have a conversation with that one person. Start there. Don't make it more complicated than that. Because if you can be the person that walks up to them and introduces yourself to them, and they look scared, that means that they're scared just like you are, probably even worse. You are their hero right there. Right. Because you made them feel comfortable. Okay. So use that. If it comes to a face-to-face type of room of people, there's your golden nugget right there. That will start the cascade of everything else we can do. And there's a lot of different stuff you can do from that. Go pick up the Networking Tidbits book for a bunch of stuff like that. Right. If we're in a face-to-face room. In an online situation. Okay. Facebook groups, your friends list, people that you're already connected to. Look for people asking questions. Okay. If somebody asks a question, even if it's not your business, but you have a good solid answer, take a couple of minutes to give them a good answer. Oh. So I'm going to give you a great example of this is in our industry, but it turned out to be really good. And I do this all the time for people, is that I was in a Facebook group, and somebody in the group, I had no clue who this person was, posted and saying, I'm considering switching to the Infusionsoft software. Does anybody have any question or any thoughts, pluses, minuses, things like that before I make this jump? And of course, a bunch of people posted stuff, and some people said it's horrible, it's too expensive, it's really hard, yada yada. But they're like one-liners. Then there's a couple people, and there are several people, I should say, that are partners, certified partners with the company, and they're like, it's the best thing since sliced bread. Send me a message, and I'll get you a great price. Okay. Oh gosh. Nobody really answered the question. Yeah. They either posted it's horrible or let me sell it to you. That was pretty much the two sides to it. So I stopped and I said, okay, first and foremost, we've been using it since 2007. Here's what we like about it. Here's what we don't like about it. Here's your pros, here's your cons. Here's what it means to me. And I said, I cannot think about ever not using it again. I have over 80 campaigns running. Wow. I have campaigns that literally have been running for 6-7 years that I've never touched. They still run like clockwork every single day. Right. And it does the work of 2 full-time employees to me. So that is my claim to fame with it. This is what I love about it. Here's some pluses, here's some minuses. If you've got more questions, I'm happy to help you out. Shoot me a message and we can jump on a Zoom anytime. Wow. Okay. It took me maybe 5 minutes to write this. So it still wasn't long. I mean, I put a little bit of thought into it. Yeah. About a week later, he comes back and he sends me a message, says, hey, Eli, thank you so much. I don't know if you remember, about a week ago, you answered a question related to Infusionsoft. I have to say, you really did a lot to help answer the question. I've really given me some pluses and some minuses and what to look out for and all that kind of stuff. Would you still be open to having that call? I was like, well, yeah, of course. So we ended up jumping on a Zoom, had a great conversation. I shared some stuff with him, answered his questions. And that day he became a client of ours. Wow. That was going on 4 years ago now. He's still a client of ours, and he pays us every single month. Amazing. All because I stopped and I just took 5 minutes to give a thorough yet objective answer to his question. Wow. So it just shows you the power of actually caring and answering a simple question that they're looking for. Answer that they're looking for. Put some thought into it and answer the question and be polite. If you hate the software, then you can say, hey, I really do not care for it, but here's why. Right. But be, for lack of a better term, politically correct when you say it. You can say, here's what I don't like about it without bashing somebody. Yes. Mm. And when you do that, again, let's go back to that professional. when you do it that way, you look more professional than the people say, it's the worst things ever, If somebody says that, well, of course, it's like, that doesn't seem professional.
Exactly.
But just saying, I've used it, I did not like it at all, here's why, and objectively listing those reasons. Now you're coming from a place of being a professional, sharing a professional opinion, as opposed to somebody who just hates the software.
Yeah.
There's a very big psychological difference with that.
Definitely. And again, what I keep hearing from you is, again, is about the other person. Think about the other person, not
Definitely.
yourself, right? Not trying to sell that person, but actually giving them the information that they're looking for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it's the cool thing about that is when you come from that place, and like I said, I do not hide that I am in business. Yeah. I have stuff for sale. People know that I've got stuff for sale. I have a consulting program where I can help people automate what they're doing, help them come up with this kind of language, all that kind of stuff. And I do not hide that in any way, shape, or form. Like I said earlier, I'm a capitalist and I'm happy to say so. Yeah. That does not mean I have to pitch all the time, though. Right. And by coming from a place of service, giving people, helping them get answers, and showing that you can help them makes the difference. I think it was an early mentor of mine, was a guy by the name of Frank Kern. I'm sure some people listening probably heard of him. One of the best things I've ever heard from him, and I hope I get this right. I know the gist is right. It's the exact words. The best way to show somebody that you can help them is by helping them. Right. Simple. And yeah, it's such a simple concept. Yeah. And by doing that, you've got, if you look at the psychological traits, you look at Cialdini's Influence is a great book that I think everybody should read as well. Reciprocity. By doing something good for somebody else, they're going to want to do something back for you. Right. Well, if you show them that you can help them and show them an example, then they're like, okay, well, this worked. I like him. What else can we do to work together? Right. And they're going to ask about the next step. People want to buy. People spend money all the time. They just don't want to be pitched to. They don't want to be sold to all the time. Exactly. And so if you just come from a place of, hey, I can help you out. Try this and come back if you want more. Then it takes the pressure off. I love it. I love it. You know what, Eli, at this point, I know people are probably thinking, where can they get some maybe, additional free support to find out more about what you do? Where can they go? So they can connect with me in any social media site to begin with. I'll do something kind of cool here. If you're watching on the video side, go to connectwithely.com. Okay, connectwithely.com, and it is ELY. It's the uncommon spelling of Eli, so just be careful with that. If you do connect with Eli with an ELI, you go to some commercial real estate dude in Iowa or something like that. So connect with Eli with a Y.com. And from there, I have some free resources on there. This is like a mobile hub site. So if you want to check out the different projects I'm working on, that's cool. All my social media links are right there. Two things. Number one, if you connect with me in any of the social media sites, please, this is another tip, write this down. Don't just hit the friend request. Hit the friend request and then send me a message. Hey, I heard you on the Uncensored Society. I want to get connected with you more. Something. Let me know where you heard me from. How are we connected? Why are we talking? I get probably 10 friend requests a day on Facebook alone. Wow. And the people who send me a private message like that get bumped to the top of the list. Some people, it takes a week for me to get to them just because I'm busy. So if you send me a message, you will get noticed. Again, it's about getting noticed and showing people that you actually care. I get all kinds of friend requests. So why are we connecting? Tell me. Right. Second thing, on the connectwitheli.com website, if this stuff resonates with you and you'd love to have a chat, I love meeting cool people. So I would love to talk to you. This is not a sales pitch. This is for a chance for us to get to know each other. If the conversation goes in a direction of how can we do to help you out? Awesome. If not, that's okay too. Right. But on that page, if you scroll down towards the bottom, there's a spot that says, let's chat. And you can book a call on my calendar. I'm not going to charge for it. It's purely just a get to know you kind of conversation. And if I can help you in any way, I love doing that stuff. That's what I live for. Because again, I love meeting cool people. So connectwithely.com is the easiest way. Just start there, go from anywhere that works for you after that.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Eli. And guys, don't forget, the links that Eli has just mentioned, they're all going to be in the show notes below. So make sure you scroll down if you missed it. They'll all be there. Eli, thank you so much for coming onto the show. It was amazing to have you here. It's like mind-blowing, right? And if people haven't actually written down these notes, then oh my god, guys, you need to go back, start from the beginning and write them down, because there was just value after value after value. You just can't help yourself, Eli. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, if you can't tell by now, I love talking about this stuff.
Yes.
I love having cool conversations, and I love sharing the tools, the resources, the tech, all that kind of stuff that I have. If we had 3 days for a podcast, we could come up with all kinds of stuff, and I'm sure I could talk for that long. I love doing this. And so I want to thank you for letting me come hang out with you, have this conversation. Always know I'm here for you if there's anything that I can do to help. And you know how to get a hold of me now. Everybody else knows how to get a hold of me too, because I don't hide. I'm a real person. I want to have a conversation with you. Sometimes when things get a little bit more busy, it might take a little bit longer for us to have that chat, but I'm still here. Let's have a cool conversation, make the world a better place, get out there, change some lives, spread some kindness, and just have fun. That's really what it's all about.
Exactly. Once again, Eli, thank you so much for coming to the show. You are amazing.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Thank you for your time and listening to Uncensored Society podcast. All resources mentioned throughout the episode will be added to the show notes, and you'll be able to find them at the bottom as you scroll down. Don't forget to go ahead and subscribe and leave a review in iTunes. Thank you once again.